The February just gone was a stellar month for new game releases. Today on Get Indie Gaming, we run down and review a selection of the best games we played over the course of the month that we think are worth you checking out. Let's begin with Florence, which came out this past February on the Switch, with it being a firm favourite of ours, having spent much time with it on mobiles. The new Switch version is more of the excellent same. Coming with a story similar to La La Land, its strength comes not only from the lush illustrations and outstanding musical score, but within how it projects and elicits such feels of empathy and understanding from those that play it. As one of us here in our little group said while discussing Florence over a cup of tea, it all feels so very relatable. We've all, or well most of us, will have experienced the issues and events we see here in Florence, and while it's under an hour from beginning to credits, it's a story we'll continue to come back to time and time again. Coming up next, we have KUNAI, a game we played on the Nintendo Switch, although it's also available via Steam. The eShop describes KUNAI as an action-adventure, although it omits to mention its Metroidvania elements, which is largely why we had picked this game to show off in our February edition of our Top 10 Indie Games to Watch countdown. Now if you haven't seen that video yet, click the card on screen now, or follow the link down in the description. Now KUNAI starts off promising enough, with it feeling familiar and similar to many other games of this kind of action platforming background. To begin with, the platforming feels, well, it's really robust and enjoyable. The combat is also fast and fluid and has a nice edge to it even from the start, and this gets better to a point as you gain more weaponry and abilities as you move through the game. The visuals are also pretty darn great with plenty variations, although as a whole, it is in the end let down by a gameplay loop that feels slightly worn too thin too early, and there are also sections of unrewarding backtracking and a loot crate sort of system that, well, it doesn't quite work as well as it might. It is a good little Metroidvania, but it doesn't quite hit all the high notes. So here we have the console release of 2 Point Hospital. And while it's hardly a new game, having been on PC for a good length of time, it's something in truth we haven't really played until the last few weeks. We picked this up entirely and exclusively on the Nintendo Switch. While originally designed for a mouse and keyboard interface, the controls by way of the analog sticks work well enough, although not being able to use the touchscreen feels an opportunity missed. That being said, 2 Point Hospital pretty much nails what was so enjoyable about Theme Hospital back in 1997, although it adds plenty more in terms of how much there is to do, even if the overall themes are essentially the same. Now, given how busy your hospital can get, we did have frame rate issues every once in a while, although they didn't impact upon our satisfaction or the overall humour that's to be found within the gameplay. Aside from the recent launch on the Switch, 2 Point Hospital also came out on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, with 2 of the available DLCs already included within the launch bundle. Coming next, a game we're really conflicted by. Luna the Shadow Dust is one of the most beautiful looking games you can play today across any platform. Its hand-drawn animations and the overall artwork are breathtaking from each and every frame from the beginning to the end. Visually, it's utterly enchanting, and yet as a whole, it's held back by its overall pacing, and in somehow of the communication aspects of what is a wordless puzzle don't quite cut through as well as they possibly could. Being wordless, Luna for the most part uses murals and symbols to signpost and communicate, to essentially let you know and offer clues as to what you should be doing, particularly within the game's puzzle sections. Usually you can work things out from such environmental clues, although from time to time and certain occasions we found ourselves undertaking random actions to half guess what we should actually be doing. This comes as a frustration, as does at times the speed in which the game ticks over. It can feel so very, very slow, almost too slow, and while visually an utter triumph, we can't as a collective agree if this beauty ultimately saves Luna from the shortcomings within its gameplay. Up now, and probably the third best game we played last month. Well, it's a short little thing and comes in at around an hour to play, so it's perfect to polish off and finish in a single playthrough. A note from the developer on the Steam homepage suggests Apple Slash is more of a tech demo or a little taste of something much grander. Graphically, it reminds us of Minute, and it sees you play as a rotund knight of the realm on a mission to save a missing boy. The combats, well, it's just great, and at times this game offers a fair challenge. The whole experience is really rather fun, particularly the creatures you get to meet who are all well written and easy to like. If this is more of a tech demo, then bring on the main course. Up next, and at number 2, we have Bloodroots, a game we were able to get hold of a good few weeks before launch, and you can check out our first impressions video by clicking the card on screen now, or following the link down in the description. In a few words, well, Bloodroots is bloody good fun with its melee combat action matching the best parts of Hotline Miami, together with the Jackie Chan ethos that everything around you can be used as a weapon, be they pikes to garden vegetables, and the odd farmyard animal. Despite its ultra-violence, it's all handled with cartoon sensibilities and comes with perhaps a surprisingly deep and classical western tale of revenge and redemption. Aside from frame rate issues every once in a while, the real annoyance came actually from it not offering any hints or tips in how to control and play it. This at the start saw us looking at each other with blank faces as we failed to initially work out how to pick up and use some of the early weaponry. But that's really it from the downside of things. Once you're up to speed, it's so very frantic and fast, and in places a really enjoyable slog. It's totally amazingly joyous. Bloodroots is available by way of the Epic Game Store and all of this generation's current consoles. Up next, and the game we like playing the most this February just gone, Lair of the Clockwork God is the third in the Ben and Dan series, and it's really, really good. So much we'd expect to see it make a fair few number of critical Game of the Year rundown pieces once and if we make it all to the end of the year. It's also handsomely written, with it genuinely delivering laugh after laugh all the way through. Comedy's so notoriously difficult to pull off within video games, and yet Dan Marshall and Ben Ward have pulled off something really rather exquisite. We honestly can't recall having laughed so much at a video game in perhaps, well, ever. It's not just the writing or the art direction and comedy which makes this so very good. What really shines is the mix of the two principal characters and how you control and how they react to the environments. With one, you play as an old school point-and-click adventure type of thing, and the other, well, they adopt the playstyles and gameplay of a platformer. Perhaps naturally enough, you switch between each character, and while occasions we found a few control issues, the point-and-click and platforming together with the puzzles, sometimes our mouth open wide levels of greatness when you figure out the solutions. It's also silly, it's rude, it's crude, although it's never unpleasant with its jokes and barbs and punchlines. It's also a game about getting older, about adapting or staying comfortable with what you know, and how things should be done. In a single word, it's brilliant. And it's our game of the month just gone by an English country mile. So there we go, and while we didn't play as many games as we'd have liked this February just gone, because we moved house and didn't have internet connection for 10 or so days, we're more than looking to make amends for that over the course of March. So what did you play and enjoy back the month just gone? Let us know in the comments, and if you could, hit that like button and subscribe if you've not already done so. That would really help us out and we'd be most grateful. In any case, many thanks for watching, and we'll see you all here next time for more indie game videos.